iPhone almost had a back button? Is this madness? No. This is Barda! Hi folks, hope you're doing swell. My name's John Barda, but enough about me, let's get into the video. First thing I want to talk about is this new book that came out Friday, June 16th, written by Brian Merchant, titled The One Device. And it's all about the origins of the first iPhone, how that came to be. Since this book came out, people have been scouring through it trying to find some evidence on some other things that have gone on while making the original iPhone. One of the most interesting ones that came about is that the original iPhone almost had a back button. Steve Jobs was apparently a big proponent in having a back button that could get you from one screen back to where you came from. Boy Genius Report says the touch-based phone, which originally supposed to be nothing but screen, was going to need at least one button. We all know it well today, the home button. But Steve Jobs wanted to have two. He felt that he'd need a back button for navigation. All this and more is inside of Merchant's book. The thing is, companies like Apple and Google and Samsung, they always throw ideas back and forth. When the original iPhone came out, he threw up a picture of an iPod with a little phone dial on it. That was a funny joke, but there is some truth to this. Companies try crazy things internally. Some of them come to be, some of them don't. So there's no saying that this was gonna be a definitive feature of the iPhone. Personally, I'm glad that it hasn't, because I think the 3-button layout that Android has is a little messy. But you know, the next iPhone might not even have that one single home button anymore. The first time I got hip to this book was due to a Verge article where they had a very long excerpt of the book. I was pretty pumped. I'm like, wow, a book about the original iPhone, how it came to be, the insides and the outs. But as I started reading the excerpt on the website, things were getting a little shady. The article went into great detail on how Phil Schiller, Apple's vice president of worldwide marketing, was dead set against the software keyboard that iPhone eventually ended up with. He just sat there with his sword out every time going, no, we've got to have a hard keyboard. No, hard keyboard. And he wouldn't listen to reason, as all of us were like, no, this works now, Phil. And he'd say, you've got to have a hard keyboard. This was said by Tony Fadell, the godfather of the iPod. In another interview that Brian Merchant had for his book, he interviewed Brett Bilbray, former Apple employee. There were days that you had to explain things to him like a grade school kid. Jobs liked him, Bilbray thinks, because he looked at technology like middle America did, like grandma and grandpa did. And the excerpt goes on, painting this battle between Phil Schiller and the rest of the Apple team working on iPhone. Tony Fadell, speaking about the altercations between Steve and Phil Schiller, said, Steve and he headed out in the hallway. He was told, like, get on the program or get the fuck out. And he ultimately caved. After this excerpt was posted to The Verge, there was just an onslaught of people questioning, is this legit? Is it not legit? A user even tweeted to Phil Schiller, mad to find out that @Phil Schiller pushed for a physical keyboard on iPhone. Hard to think about it now after 10 years. Schiller replied, not true. Don't believe everything you read. Now, I don't personally know Phil Schiller. I've watched interviews, I've watched keynotes, but Phil Schiller seems like a guy that knows technology, but he explains it in a way that people can understand. All the people that were interviewed for this book don't currently work at Apple, so I'm gonna take what they're saying as a grain of salt. People like Tony Fadell, really smart guy, helped create the original iPod, but he's not working with the company anymore. How accurate are these interviews that were in this book? I wanna know from you guys. Do you think that this could have been a possibility, an iPhone with 2 buttons instead of just the one home button? Do you think this book is accurate at all? Let me know in the comments down below. Well, that's it for me today, folks. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and we can become friends. I upload new content every Friday, and you can find me on all my social medias @John Barda. So until next time, folks, take care. Peace.